The next thing you need to do is know yourself. Before you can really nail down a strategy, know your market and then know yourself. And what does know thyself mean? Taking an honest corporate self-assessment. What are we good at? What are we lousy at? Okay? It's the easiest way to make great strides in strategy building. If you can focus on what you're good at and get better and better and better at that as an organization and partner with others that are much better than you'll ever be at whatever it is you're weak at, you will see exponential growth just by making those little shifts. I have a corporate self-assessment. I've got a best practice assessment on my website, scalepassion.com. If you want to go there, there's an easy way, and I'll give you all the results on it. But it basically evaluates your company on a lot of different levels: leadership, training, supply chain, marketing, sales. So all the major pieces of your company, what are you good at as it relates to best practice companies? And what it'll do is it'll say a best practice company looks like this. Do you look like this? And then you rate yourself on a grade school scale, A to F. And it'll give you a sense of really where you're strong and where you're not. If you haven't done an honest corporate self-assessment, do it. The other big thing here is ensuring key stakeholder alignment. A lot of small businesses or medium businesses or big businesses, if you've got a team that's responsible for getting stuff done, you've got to make sure you're in alignment. And the example I always give is I've coached a company in Orlando for many years now. Two partners, one's 60% owner, one's a 40% owner. Set them down, was talking to them in a strategic planning session. You know, I'm going to make up names, but Matt, what are your objectives 5 years from now? I want to build a company I can give to my kids. Jim, what are your objectives 5 years from now? I want out. I want to sell this company for as much money as I possibly can. Okay. So from a strategic standpoint, we got to disconnect, because the guy over here is going to want to pour money back in. He's not worried about profit. It's about infrastructure. It's about long-term building of value. This guy over here doesn't want to put any money into the company. He wants to squeeze it all into EBITDA, earnings, so that he can get a bigger multiple. So if the two people at the top of the company aren't in total alignment, that trickles down to every single decision that gets made each and every day. So it's a huge, huge, huge issue. It can happen on boards. It can happen on teams that are building a project. If you're just running a project, making sure you're really clear on where it is we're going. Are we going in this direction or that direction is critical. And lastly, ensure change readiness. The companies that I work with are looking to grow, and the leader has to recognize that in order to grow, we have to be ready to change and do things differently, especially in this environment. I can't overstate the amount of change that we're seeing right now. The past 18 months, the past really 12 months since the economic meltdown. The economic meltdown in the fourth quarter of last year, in combination with all the technological changes going on, it's unlike anything that's ever been seen. So change is coming, whether you're growing 4% a year or declining or growing 40% or 400% a year. The change readiness piece of this is huge. My first tip, we're going to give you 5 tips today to really take away. Hopefully you get more than that, but the real one that I wanted to kind of bring up here is force stakeholder alignment. And the easiest way to do that is to get the key stakeholders on a team, get the key stakeholders in a business, go to dinner, go to lunch, dinner's probably better, have a glass of wine or whatever your preferred beverage is, and have a hard conversation. And the question to ask is, what's important to you? And where do you want to be? It's very personal at the stakeholder level. So ask them those personal questions and force that alignment. If there's a conflict, don't let it go. Talk about the conflict, mine for conflict, get the conflict to the surface in the interest of doing what's right by all the other employees and the interest of doing what's right for the company. Get it to the surface and address it. And what we did with those two, the example I gave earlier, is we figured out a way to transfer the ownership. And this person over here, the person who wants to give it to their kids, was willing to give a premium to the person who wanted out. And we were able to negotiate that proactively. But it took the next 2 days. We had 2 days set aside for strategic planning. That was question 1, stakeholder alignment, and we spent the next 2 days talking about that issue. Nothing else mattered until you figure that particular issue out. Okay?